Siya na momini, awin na sa ADC Roadweg, awin na sa di bisita nos Departamento de Patologia. Banco mi seca Sr. Lars Althaus, nos Patólogo Forensikó.
Saludos, ¿con qué nos tiene?
Saludos. I'm Lars Althaus, I'm the forensic pathologist.
Por describir o rol e responsabilidade como técnico forensico?
As a forensic pathologist or a forensic medical expert, I'm the connection between justice and medical and biological science. So I give advice to help the police and the justice to solve criminal cases with medical science. That means it starts at the crime scene with interpretation of the crime scene, for example, blood patterns and so on. Then it continues with doing autopsies, doing examinations on living persons, sometimes the suspect, and following the whole case until it goes to court with giving advice of methods of science for the possibility to solve the case.
Qual é parte do trabalho que exige mais de aula?
The most challenging aspect is to be flexible. You never know when something happens. I'm on call 24 hours. If something happens, the Meldkammer, Centrale Police, calls me immediately. I have to go to a crime scene. And yeah, then you have to start from 0 to 100. And I have to be active within a very short period of time. And I'm the only one here in Curacao and for the other 5 islands where I'm responsible for. And yeah, I think that's the most challenging part of the job.
Por descrever como dia típico tá na trabalho pa awo?
That's the most difficult question because there is no typical day. Every day is different, but mostly it could start with maybe that I have a run in the night operation for the police, that the police calls me for somebody who has been found dead or a person with strange injuries that have to be interpreted. Then in the morning we sometimes do autopsies. An autopsy is not only to find the cause of death, but much more to interpretate the findings, to find out exactly what happened. So the normal procedure is when a body comes in, we have to see is he identified or not. If not, we, together with the police, we do all the things we have to do for identification, like fingerprints, or we ask possible family to identify the victim. And then we plan the autopsy. In some cases, we have to do radiology before, especially in cases of traffic accidents and shootings. Then we do the autopsy on this table. The police is always present during the autopsy to take the evidence, to take photos, to take the bullets, for example. And so when the autopsy is finished, the body can be released to the family.
Okay.
Some autopsies can take up to several hours because we have to document every single injury. We have to measure it out, we have to take photos. So some cases are really difficult, and then autopsy, the longest autopsy I ever had was 11 hours.
Okay, meti maleting nilanda gi. Kiko turting ne maleting.
Yeah, that's the crime scene case, very important with all the important tools that I use at the crime scene. It starts with collecting evidence. In some cases, I have to take blood at the scene to get toxicological results as soon as possible, so I can take samples from a body. And very important, in some cases, we have to find out the time of death. In a shooting case, it's clear when it happened, we don't have to investigate it, but in some cases when we find a body, it's extremely important to find out when somebody died or when somebody has been killed. So first we take the temperature of the body, because a dead body is cooling down, and from the cooling down we can calculate the time of death with a very complicated formula. Then we use the technique to give an electrical impulse on the mimic muscles of the face, and depending on the reaction of electricity, we can say something about the time since death, and this can be very important. And yeah, some other tools to measure out things, to take evidence, to document things. That's the most important tool at the crime scene.
Okay.
And then I have a lot of paperwork, writing reports, using special software to show in shooting cases the gunshot trajectories or something like this. It's also a lot of paperwork, and then always stand by if something happens.
Como tu comienza a colectar y analizar a prueba na?
Okay, collecting evidence is mostly a part of the police work. They collect the evidence and they have to send it to experts. For example, bullets in shooting cases. But when I do my work, we have to document everything very exactly. We take photos of everything, and I have to document everything very exactly.
Vou poder descrever caso particular que abo atrariva je que também estava quizás difícil?
Oh, one case. I'm doing this now for 25 years and I have more than 6,000. That's difficult, but I think the most challenging and complex case was in 2010 when I was still in Germany. That was a mass disaster at a music festival with 21 young dead people who died during a mass panic, a stampede. And this was the most complex case because the people came from all over the world and we have to identify the victims. We had to find out why they died, what exactly happened. So when I look the last years, I think that was the most complex and challenging case.
Quata é material e tecnologia que botasse uso de je agora que pa hasi bo trabalho?
Yes, during the autopsies we only need a few tools, of course. That's not so exciting, but the last year there was a big development in forensic science. So we use also radiology for the findings as support for the autopsy findings. We use the DNA technique, we use toxicology, we use special techniques like fibers from clothing, looking for hairs. All this is evidence that we use, and these are special techniques that can help to solve a case.
Que educação é necessário para exercer o trabalho?
Yeah, first I have to become a normal medical doctor at the university, and after that I made training in Germany for 5 years to become a forensic medical specialist. That's very different to the Dutch system, where you first have to be a clinical pathologist and then you make training to be a forensic pathologist. I did 5 years, and that's only forensic work, psychiatry, toxicology, so that's very focused on forensic work. So first you have to become a normal medical doctor and then 5 years to become a forensic medical specialist.
Que é essencial para ter êxito dentro do trabalho?
First of all, you have to be very flexible in time because you never know when something happens. Then you have to be open-minded, not only looking in one direction, look also in other directions. You need good nerves, and flexibility is the most important part.
Tem alguma tendência ou cambio na que você observar em ciência forensico?
There have been a few big steps forward in forensic science. It started when I started my work in the mid-80s. The forensic DNA started. That was a very, very big and important step for forensic science. Then estimating the time of death, where I was busy with science, and then the criminal profiling. The interpretation of behavior of offenders was a very big step to understand why killings happen and why offenders are acting like they are acting. And I think nowadays one of the most important steps is and will be the use of forensic radiology. And that's now starting up, and I think this will be the big future for forensic science.
Agora que nós acabamos de entender, Sr. Lars parte, vamos começar agora aqui na parte clínico de patologia.
Saludos, ¿por qué los de honor? Juliet Renita.
Ok, Jilier, kiko ta no qual ko to susude kami na nos aqui.
Bom, aqui batendo tem parte de ontvangkamers. Caminho nos está aí a tour entrega nan de tour boden nan. Diferente hospital, dokter nan, wanneer advent, CMC. En de plus wat hij hebben ook boden nan dan ook de bing ko moosten nan de bing die Island naar riba, Island voor. Mensen Martin, Bonaire, Saba, etc.
Ok, e ora mo cabe receber cena, kiko mas ta susude de área aqui.
Bom, ora nós recebi moosten nan. Wat hij gaat een potje, moet dat bing genomen de patiënt naar riba. Want nós temos que registrar no sistema de LMS. Então, nós registramos, então cada pote, cada paciente tem número, registração-número. Então, o número aí nós está se scan, nós está pondo na tour, net op een plankje, nós vai dentro da câmera, nós scan, nós vai tudo gegevens naar de LMS, nós vamos seguir as o processo.
Nós temos seguinte área aqui. Na explicação, kiko ta susude aqui não.
Bom, de área aqui nós está parando snijtafel, parte que nós está corta, assistir patoloog. Diferença aqui nós está corta groot materiaal com klein materiaal. No momento na aqui tem groot materiaal, kita assistir patoloog para corta groot materiaal. E isso aqui é uterus, nós temos uterus. Então no papamento nós temos matriz, baarmoeder. Uterus no momento que nós nele para mesa, nós tem ele, é doctor aquele, é do drume de formalina. Líquido para ter um intacto, mas não dá nem nada na gente. Então nós aí momento o uterus está guardo pisar. Então aqui peso, então medi uterus é grandura com granita. Então também está corte parte não de protocolo que temos ter, vai fazer onderzoek na gente. Esse aí não está assim com uterus. No momento que eu vou cortar, então vou cortar nós está blip na sistema de LMS. Het is een nummer plus het T-nummer, dan is het in de kamer. Je ziet de zaal, die wordt een cassette. Dus die cassette, cada um tem número, de zaal die wordt een cassette. Dan ons poe het tekort, het part in die protocol que tem, die de cassette. Então nós tapamos a tapa. Tapamos a tapa, cada parte que corta tem número. Foi 1 até 20, whatever, depende de quanto pida, é corta. Je ziet de woorden in cada, é uma culto. Também vai dormir dentro líquido que nós chamamos formalina, para depois é para a machine que esse processo para seguir para o seguinte passo.
Ok.
Wat we dus doen, zoals Jilly net zei, is het preparaat opmeten. In dit geval 17 centimeter. We spreken dat in op een digitaal dictaat. Wat je hier kan zien, dat gaat naar het secretariaat en die werken het uit. Wat belangrijk is de grootte, de afmetingen en ook de afmetingen van de afwijkingen. In dit geval hebben we hier een stukje van de cervix, dus de boca di matrice. En daar willen we zien of daar een afwijking zit. En dan snijden we een klein plakje. En dat sluiten we in het pakje zoals net door Jilly aangegeven. Bon, nou, ik heb dit nu voorgedaan. Wil jij ook proberen?
Oké, is goed. Snijden?
Ja, plakje van 3 mm.
Nou, dat kan niet goed, maar volgens mij is dit het. Ja, zo.
Tadaa! Nou, zo past het nog niet in het bakje.
Ja.
Zo nog iets kleiner en iets dunner. Het is nog geen 3 mm.
Oké.
Dit is een leiomyoom, wat we in de medische term is leiomyoom. En dat is een vleesboom en dat is een goedaardige tumor van spierweefsel die in de baarmoeder groeit.
Oké, mas je dank je explicação. Para mim, depois estava da ideia.
Agora que nós seguimos o processo, depois nós acordamos na snijtafel. Sim, depois nós acordamos na snijtafel, nós também, que é uma kutu. Quando nós acabamos tudo, é que serve de uma kutu. Aqui não tem machine que nós chamamos vape machine. Essa aqui é esse processo, doorvoer machine. Esse processo é o seguinte dia, nós starten tarde, vai seguinte dia, vai seguir bij noto afdeling, para não conseguir processo não de uitsnijden. Oké, depois que nós acabamos o processo de uitsnijkamer, we passa na outra afdeling, seca mi collega dan de histologie.